Will you be celebrating the 60th anniversary, or is it cause to pause and reflect on what reform is really needed within the EU?
We're not here in Rome to celebrate. We don't believe there is anything to celebrate. Europe is at an advanced stage of disintegration. The European idea is in retreat everywhere. Those of us who are Europeanists are very worried, and we're here in order to present a set of policies which we refer to as the European New Deal for saving Europe from itself primarily and its establishment, and moreover making Europe worth saving at the moment, because you know what, most Europeans now have lost confidence in the capacity of the European Union to represent them.
If the EU continues on the path it's leading, will it exist in another 60 years?
No, absolutely not. It won't exist in the next 6 years. Once we created a monetary union, the euro, that was not designed to sustain the shockwaves of the financial crisis which began in New York in 2008. It was only a matter of time before the whole edifice starts disintegrating. It is still possible. We're not past the point of no return to inject cement into the foundations of the European Union. But we need drastic action, and our...
But yes? Do you sense there's appetite for this root and branch social and economic reform that you're calling for?
What there is no appetite for is more Europe, as it's euphemistically called, giving more power to Brussels and diminishing further the national sovereignty of our member states. There's no appetite for that, there's no doubt about that. But at the very same time, Europeans understand, and this is the message that we want to reinforce in them, and they understand that we have 3 or 4 major problems in Europe. We have public debt, that's unsustainable. We have a banking crisis, which is unsustainable. We have overly low levels of investment, and we have a humanitarian crisis. We have poverty rising. And these problems are a little bit like climate change, you know. They cannot be sorted out at the level of the nation state, of national governments. We have to deal with these at a European level. We need to Europeanize the solutions to these in order to give more sovereignty to our national parliaments. I believe that the average European is ready for that message, and this is what we're here as DiEM25 to deliver here in Rome on the 60th anniversary.
Mr. Varoufakis, these reforms, whether they take place or not, will occur without the UK, which of course is going to trigger Article 50, as you know, on Wednesday. We had Mr. Juncker, Mr. Jean-Claude Juncker, speak earlier, and he said the UK has to pay a bill of about £50 billion when it leaves the EU. Is this debate over the exit bill going to be the first flare-up after Article 50 is triggered on Wednesday between the UK and the EU? How do you see this aspect being resolved?
Very, very badly. What you just described is a perfect example of the incapacity of our leadership, both in Brussels and in London, to deal with the Brexit situation. On the one hand, you have the European Union, the European Commission, that is seeking to punish Britain for having dared to step out. And on the other hand, you have the Conservative government in London that wants to step out irrespective of the economic and social cost. This is the perfect storm. It's a perfect failure of both London and Brussels. The problems of Britain, which also are the problems of the continent, include very low investment in fixed capital. They involve a social crisis. They involve a banking sector which is oversized and cannot be sustained by the British economy. We have so much in common between the continent and Britain. My view is that even after Brexit, we need to coordinate policies for resolving these crises across this continent.